Code Derivation. Did I pronounce that correct? Yes, thank you.
Derivation, yes,
thank
indeed.
you. Code Derivation, your second album. I want to talk about your first album that we've gotten in recent memory in a second, because that has been deeply rewarding and very, very special to me. I've listened to it an enormous amount. But we'll get to that one, because I do feel like you're in this bag where it's all coming from the same sort of spiritual and holistic place, which is like this idea of like, what is calm, what is balance. It doesn't have to be without rhythm. It can be with rhythm, but both of them can combine.
Literally. Absolutely.
Where did that journey for you begin, Robert? Did it begin with finding a peaceful place, or did it begin with loving the rhythm and then going, hey, I can incorporate some of that piece I'm looking for into this thing I do so well?
No, it's funny. It all really came from when I grew up playing in church. You know what I mean? That gave me a sense of spiritual grounding and understanding, and being able to be in the moment and focus on the music and how it really, really relates to spirituality and focusing on you as well. Like a lot, I started playing in church when I was like 11 years old, and after playing in church so many years, I realized like I've been scoring the music to people's feelings and ushering in these vibes for so long. And that's what you do in church. The music is responsible for that. You know what I mean? It's responsible for, you playing a certain thing and people being able to just unwind and unload their feelings and their thoughts and their cries, the joy, the pain, all of those things. And you just lay a bed for them to do that in. You know what I mean? It's not so much of a look at me moment, which as a musician and me being the artist, you're pretty pushed to do that. Hey, look at me, look what I can do.
Well, they're so symbiotic, because for me to get to a place where what you're playing, writing, or performing is allowing me to do that, there has to be an authenticity to your experience. That is the connection. That's about the only tangible I've been able to actually identify it in my whole life. Mm-hmm. of loving, listening, being inspired mm-hmm. by, and ultimately, I guess to some degree, discussing the art, is that the tangible is, if it means something to you, it's way more likely to mean something to me.
Right.
And that is the beauty of it. I mean, that's why, dude, it's so funny you say that. Let Go was so special to me, because I was looking for that mood.
Yeah.
And I hadn't added anything new to my playlist for a while, and you gave me a whole album of it. And I went there.
And so many people, like, I have a tendency to do, like, Let Go is something that I've always done. Like, if you go to my live show, people be like, yo, you sat on that idea or that groove for like almost 10 minutes without moving. And I'm like, I was in the zone. I was like, people say, do you meditate? Like, yeah, when I'm playing, that's my meditation. When I'm playing, that for me, that's meditation. That's when nothing else matters in the world. I'm there, and it just overtakes me. And those are things that I do at the end of songs or the beginning of songs. I love to just set the mood and just stay there, and just I say I like to provide the house and let the audience move the furniture in.
It's such a beautiful thought. I remember, quick story, seeing the band Tool, who I love and are a very progressive and incredible group of musicians, perform 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks after 9/11. I flew to New York from London with my wife for a friend's wedding, and we arrived, and New York was, as you can imagine, completely shut down. There's still tanks on the streets. Right. And everyone was very scared. And Tool and Tool might have been the first show at MSG, if not one of the first shows at MSG after everything happened. And they're a heavy band, but they're also a very kind of like spiritual band. And at one moment, when everyone was kind of letting loose and just kind of really releasing this energy you could call anger, but it was really just this energy in the crowd, the guitar player just started playing these 3 open chords. They were so beautiful. They had no discernible rhythm. He just one followed the other when he felt like it. And they did it for about 10 to 15 minutes. And everybody just kind of stopped and meditated in this church, in this arena. And
Absolutely.
I've never seen anything like it. So I understand that how we forget that almost the term performance, Robert, is like a little dismissive for what it actually is sometimes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm glad they did that. That's so. It's just like okay, let me just bring it back. Oh, with all this chaos, all these things going on, all this stuff happening in the music. Let me just bring it back to square one and just let me just bring it home.
Bring it home, right? To the true experience.
And it takes a lot of especially for jazz musicians, I feel like it takes a lot of courage
Mm.
to do that, to just bring it home and not feel like you have to play the most complex chord changes or melodies or rhythms. It could just be something super simple.
That's such a sage observation, because we look at jazz musicians, and this from the greatest of intentions, the best of intentions, as people who are closest to mastering the art form, right?
Right.
Because you don't just play the notes, you know what goes in between. So it's like, well, show us how it can go. And when you're like, it can just go simple sometimes, it's just beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love Let Go, man. Congrats. I really didn't get a chance to speak to you on that record, but I wanted to take a second to say thank you for that album. I love that album.
Thank you so
much.
much.
I listen to it to this day a lot.
Thank you.
Let's talk about code derivation. You tell me, because I'm reading it and it makes sense in writing, but also I know it's deeper than that. It's what you do, but the idea of flipping it and doing this, I mean, I feel like you've done this. I mean, you understand how to create the authentic, classic hip hop thing that makes your head snap, that we all love, timeless. You know how to do that. So how is this different for you?
It's kind of just, this record is kind of, because, it's derivation is just deriving from something else. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I feel like, obviously hip hop is a derivative of jazz. You know what I mean? A lot of hip hop comes from jazz. A lot of the breaks you hear, a lot of the samples you hear, all the things, a lot of the style that the cats use come from the style of Thelonious Monk, Duke Ellington,
Lou Donaldson,
and Lou Donaldson, Miles Davis,
Freddie Hubbard,
Freddie, of course, Donald Byrd. You can go on and on and on. Herbie, and so this was kind of just like, oh, you know what? Everybody knows I can do hip hop, I do jazz, but let me just. But I wanted to just like kind of make it obvious on this record, like, hey, here it is. you know what I mean? Like, and I wanted to do it like literally. That's why it's like there's a jazz tune, but then from that jazz tune, I had a producer take those elements of that jazz tune, make a hip hop joint. Elements of that, make it, you know what I mean? So it's kind of just like flipping myself.
Well, I'm so glad you did, because do you know how hard it is to find things to flip? Right. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't know where Alchemist is shopping, but he's about the only one I know that still blows my mind, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Everything else is like, we're all about to hit Pop Belly again, for the 50th time.
I almost called this album Cleared. Everything's cleared.
Oh my God. little insider training for anybody that doesn't know. Sampling is still one of the most fun things in the world. You know what's not fun is working with the very established good folks whose job it is to make sure that the people get paid. As well they should. But dude, it used to be like a 3-month thing where people would have to search for the samples. It's now a 3-minute phone call and a big bill. That's it.
Absolutely. Literally, that's it. Or finding that random guitar player who has a piece of writing on it that no one knows where they are, and it's like it's just searching for Candyman or something.
It really is. And at the end of the day, if you're a good soul, which we all are, you're desperate to find that person because you want them to get their rights. You want them to get their sides. But
absolutely,
it's a lot, man. It ain't 3 feet high, right? It ain't Paul's Boutique. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Code derivation. We've had such a good time between Let Go and this album, working closely with you here at Apple Music. We love the relationship we built up over time, and are grateful for the fact that you trust us. To do what we do with this music.
Absolutely.
Can we talk a little bit about, before we say goodbye, how you feel about where music sits right now in the conversation? Because I'm feeling it more than ever for lots of reasons, both personal and also what I see public facing, and the need and the magic for it to unite and to create a space for people to feel, because a lot of stuff that we're dealing with right now is very unfeeling. It's very high frequency. It's not very low frequency.
Absolutely.
And so where do you feel music sits in the conversation right now? And what else can we do? It doesn't have to be a two-parter, but what else can we do to elevate it, to ensure it does what it wants to do, which is reach people?
It's so funny because you're right. There's just a lot of BS out there right now, because it's just so easy for anybody to put anything out at any time. Now there's no longer you got to go through all these
checks
loopholes and all these things, checks and balances before you put a record out, because that also weeds out the people who aren't serious about it. There were so many checks and balances before where you had to really want to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it was exhausting.
It was exhausting. You could literally be a 15-year-old, wake up in the morning and be like, I'm going to do a song. Yeah. And in 3 days, it's the biggest song in the world.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
and
totally
you really
possible.
don't care about it. It's so possible. at the same time, I feel that it's just as easy for people who are great and who are putting out honest music and truly, truly feel music and love this music. It's easier for them to put records out too and to put their thoughts and ideas out. And I think it's a great time because even when I watch all these series, there's so much music of people I don't know. You know what I mean? It's also
I'm
you know,
shazamming this out of my television,
oh
like
man,
nonstop.
me too. I'm always shazamming, and it's amazing because they get the opportunity to get their music heard on series, and also because no one knows who they are, so it's super cheap, and it works out. It works out at the end of the day because so many people
Yeah,
have been found like that. You know?
I think for me, what I love about it is that how we're being encouraged to set our own expectations more.
Yeah.
And and not try to climb to the expectations of others or an industry or to reach a certain target in order to justify yourself. I think
Or
we have
change yourself, or change who you are, or what you do.
Exactly.
You
Like
can really, yeah.
you put out Let Go, right? And we feel it. And
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I get to tell you that.
Yeah.
And hopefully that makes your day a little bit better because you're like, reached him and it reached her and it
Absolutely.
reached them and it reached those people. And I know that what I'm doing resonates because it's fitting within your own sense of expectations. And it's not like it's not enough. Like it's not enough doesn't work for music.
Exactly. I think people just really have to trust themselves and really bet on yourself and realize like you are enough and what your voice matters. You know what I mean? And the right people will hear it. It's all about the right people, the right people hearing. It's not about everyone hearing it. It's just about the right people hearing it. And then they'll do what it's supposed to do after that.
Bro, I'm
No.
just trying to go through my Shazams right now, man. Dude, some of my Shazams are mad embarrassing. Like I had to Shazam Hold the Line by Toto. That's like one of the biggest songs of the 80s. I'm like, I know it, but I can't remember. Hold the line.
But can't remember. Yeah.
Down, 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 down. To be always on time. I knew the song. I was like, who the sing that?
Yeah, but there's so much music. There's more music out than ever. Like it's impossible. You know what I mean? Like it's just. I did the same thing the other day with an Usher song. I was like, who is this? This guy sounds good. Is this a new one?
Yeah. I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing. You're deep in your world, Robert.
It wasn't quite that one. It wasn't quite, but it wasn't even a B-side. It was like a single. I was like, oh, it is Usher.
It's so good to see you, and this music that you're making is so beautiful. All sides of this wonderful, wonderful artistic spirit you represent. You're firing on all cylinders, man. So it's great to see you, and thanks again for riding with us, man.
And don't forget, I'm in New York for my Robtober residency at Blue Note in October, the whole month of October.
It's great to see you again, Robert. Thanks for your time.
Man, thank you so much, Zane. Appreciate you, brother.
Bye, man.